Hello and welcome to Connected. Today on the show we'll be chatting with Lewis Jones from the Judith Wright Centre of Contemporary Arts, Brian Egan from Malaysia Airlines, Mike Higgins, reporter and now also author, and lastly, All Things Lost. But first, here is Big Shows in Town. Direct from Broadway comes Empire, a combination of comedy, circus, variety and burlesque, all in one big show. This stage sensation starts its Brisbane season from May 24 and runs through nightly until June 16th in the King George Square. On the local music front, if you like your hip-hop, Seth Century is coming to Brisbane on his national tour, May 25. His first studio album, This Was Tomorrow, debuted at number 6 on the album charts last year and definitely worth checking out if you like your urban sounds. There's plenty happening on the horse racing circuit at the moment as part of the 2013 Brisbane Racing Carnival. Some of the racing's biggest names and top turf stars are currently converging on Doomben and Eagle Farm, with the carnival set to continue through until June 8. And May 29 is World MS Day, and throughout this month, the Multiple Sclerosis Society encourages everyone to help kiss goodbye to MS. A number of fundraising events are happening right around the region, so make sure you check out the website for more details and to find events in your local area. Don't forget to stay connected through our website and Facebook page for more events happening around southeast Queensland. Next on the show we have Lewis Jones. He's the Program Manager of the Judith Wright Centre of Contemporary Arts. Lewis, welcome to the show.
Lovely to be here.
And the Judith Wright Centre, or the Judy as it's...
The Judy, yes, it is affectionately known.
That's
yes.
Right. Has certainly grown dramatically over the years, but you've brought your own stamp to it after we persuaded you to come down from the Empire Theatre. What's the direction for the Judith Wright Centre as it stands today?
Okay, we are part of Arts Queensland and we're focused on developing and supporting the advancement of Queensland artists. So it's not just about doing a show, it's about developing a show, getting an audience in here and then working out, well, we usually work it out beforehand, where we want this show to go. We've also narrowed our focus down to dance, contemporary circus, contemporary performance and cabaret. So that's a kind of, that's the field we play in. We're not really focused on theatre, pure theatre as such.
So in terms then, when someone comes to you with a creative idea, are they normally those who are well established, or are you also supporting those who are really trying to find their way in the industry?
We support across the spectrum. So I've recently been speaking to some people who've written a musical and wanted to put it on the venue, and I've spoken to them, and if they're listening to this, you know this is the case, it's not ready to be performed yet. So we're helping them to get it to the next stage. At the other end of the spectrum, working with Chelsea McGuffin, who is ex-Circa. She's part of Cantina, which was I think here for the Brisbane Festival last year or the year before. She actually created that work or co-created that work. So we're working in partnership with her to develop further works, hopefully put them into our venue, hopefully support them to tour nationally and internationally.
So there's a real sense in which you're enabling emerging artists, but also those who are now trying to develop bodies of work. Yeah. Really helping them. And what, also find appropriate spaces for performance?
Well, we have our main performance space, which is a black box, 200 seats, and or 300 with the seating bank pushed back, and that's quite a flexible space. But we also have performances in the shop front, which is, funnily enough, a shop front at the front of our building. But our theatre rehearsal space and our music rehearsal room are also used for performances. And
you're housing also the Indigenous Centre as well? So
no, we're doing a show with them later in the year.
Okay, yep.
Through the Aboriginal Centre of Performing Arts.
Okay,
that's coming up in June. They're the first cab off the rank in June, a show called Black Bordello. But we also have as resident companies, we've got Circo, we've got EDC, other people would know it as Expressions Dance Company, Youth Arts Queensland, Carbon Media, which is an Indigenous video production company. So it's a very busy centre.
Yes.
And we have glass bar for where we can relax after work.
So you're hanging out there.
Yeah.
So now through June, what would be some of the real highlights?
In June, the megalomaniac of a program manager has actually transformed the space into a facsimile of the Spiegel tent configuration. So that's a large circular stage in the middle and two smaller performance areas at either side of the space with cabaret seating. And first show up is Black Bordello, which is the Aboriginal Centre of Performing Arts kids. students. Then we've got the Conservatorium bringing in their cabaret segment, their students doing their cabaret, Conde the Cabaret. And then the last 2 weeks we're opening a premiere work called Salon, which is a mixture of electro-pop, dance and circus. So that's
lots going on.
Lots going on.
Okay.
So that's a signature item.
Okay.
Salon.
Well, we wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for coming in on Connected.
Pleasure, Ashley. Thank you.
It's Lewis Jones from the Judith Wright Centre, and you can get online to judithwrightcentre.com. Join us after the break for more right here on Connected. Welcome back. Here in the studio with me is Brian Egan, the Queensland Sales Manager for Malaysia Airlines. Welcome.
Hi Ashley, how are you?
Good, thank you. And of course, sounds like things are going extremely well for Malaysia Airlines with lots of revamping. Tell us firstly with the whole sort of Global One partnership that you've established.
It's in February this year we joined the One World Alliance. Qantas hosted Malaysia Airlines through, and that for us is a major start to our year. We now have Qantas as a major domestic partner within Australia. We're in alliance with key global carriers throughout the world, which gives us better offering for our travellers. They're getting better airfares, they're getting better value for their frequent flyer programs. It's encouraging people to fly Malaysia Airlines, whereas perhaps previously they would have transited through Sydney or another point to stay with one of our One World partners. We're now getting that business. The alliance is growing because a major airline like ourselves has joined it.
It must be very satisfying for a client who's needing to book their air ticket, do that travelling and not have to worry about luggage moving from one to another when it's all done for them.
We're seeing more and more people that are One World members. That's what they want to be. They want their frequent flyer programs all held, they want their points. Now we're providing an easier opportunity, particularly flying from Brisbane. I mean, we've got our flights which will be daily from 20th of June, departing Brisbane every day of the week, straight into Kuala Lumpur. So for people travelling into Malaysia or through the ASEAN ports where we're so strong, it's a lot simpler, it's a lot efficient, and they're keeping their status, and that's important to people.
And for us in Brisbane, my understanding is that we're really growing constantly within the amount of travel both in and out of the Brisbane international and domestic terminals.
We've recently announced that we'll go from 5 to 7 flights, so a daily flight starting from 20 June, and that's been our goal for quite some time because people want daily flights. They want to be able to pick the day they go. It's simpler for us. We can sell it to our clients a lot simpler. Every night, 20 past 11, the plane goes out, and it's connecting. They're brand new aircraft, they're A330s, which are part of our fleet re-equipment, which commenced about 1.5 years ago. Our 737s within Asia are being replaced. The A330s, which are basically Australia up into China, are all being replaced. There's 12 of those. And of course the Airbus A380, the big super jumbo of the era, we've commenced flying those as of late last year.
And I could travel with you to the US and through Europe as well? You
can fly from Brisbane, you can straight up to Kuala Lumpur, and then it's on to 4 points in Europe. There's 26 countries on our network directly. We then of course code share with a number of other One World partners and with non-world partners, particularly in the Middle East, where we'll link up with other carriers and code share on that. So it's a seamless one-stop. You check in here, you get to your destination.
Brian, thank you very much for joining us. Very exciting things that are happening there at Malaysia Airlines.
It is, it's a great time to be here.
And don't forget you can check it out, malaysiaairlines.com if you'd like to get more information there online. Well, Mike Higgins was a household name in the Greater Brisbane area through the 70s and 80s. He seemed to disappear, but I caught up with him recently to find out what he's doing, and I asked him what he did when he left the small screen. Well, Mike, it's been quite a journey for you personally to come from the days of 7 News and across to Eyewitness News and Channel O as it was then to where you are today. But what would you say would be some of the kind of key highlights and challenges that you've had in this journey to bring you to where you are now?
Oh, look, I don't think it was any challenge at all because I've been doing it for 30 years. I started off in Sydney in 1960-something, 5 I think it was. I was reading Channel 7 Sydney's prime time 6 o'clock news when I was 19. But because I went night clubbing every night, I looked a lot older and they put my age up to 26. So having worked all that time in media, by the time I decided to get out, I was ready. I was ready for a big holiday, and that's what happened basically. But I think I've done everything in television that you could possibly do, including kid shows. Yeah, I was ready to have a big rest.
And so within that rest, what did that include for you?
Doing nothing except for things that were not television. I did a lot of renovating. There was a house built, huge amounts of landscaping and gardening, and paddling a surf ski, and a little bit of writing, and travelling around a bit of Europe and a bit of Asia. Everything that didn't entail getting up in the morning, putting on a suit and then being sort of troweled over with Max Factor Sun Frolic every night. It was a lovely break. Lovely break.
Now, certainly in more recent times, you were confronted with cancer, as many people are. Not only that obviously would change your life, but in many ways it's obviously changed a whole career path for you.
Yes, it has, and it's changed more than a career path. It's changed my whole attitude to life, really, because I spent 3 years doing chemo and radiation and then a bone marrow transplant, and it was a grueling experience. But one thing that I learned in the hospital ward was that everybody has a human story, and there's a lot of sharing goes on in the cancer ward, because death is all around. You know, there are people leaving the ward in a not alive state quite frequently, and so you get to learn to live with this. And I was in there for 8 months having the bone marrow transplant. But I think now I value ordinary human beings probably more than I did when I was working in the media, because I had to be very, not very, but you were forced into a position of being somewhat detached, because it was very exhausting to be signing autographs or doing promotions all day, and so you tended to withdraw a little bit for your privacy and protect yourself and sort of try and keep your energy. But coming out of a cancer ward and surviving gives you an appreciation not just of people, especially the loved ones in your life, but that also being alive, just being in nature, being able to walk, being able to go to the shops.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, welcome to Network Video at Winston Glades. This week we've just received 2 titles that probably will suit most of our viewers. The first one is The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey by Peter Jackson, the creator, well, not the creator, but the director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So this one, it takes you back to Middle-earth, and it follows some similar characters in the first 3 Lord of the Ring movies. But this one is just fantastic. I think just the last few years of being able to develop his special effects and character development, and being able to shoot a film that is such a small book comparatively to the Lord of the Rings in 3 movies, the viewers aren't going to be disappointed. And any of the fans of his work are going to be absolutely wrapped with this. If they haven't seen it already at the cinemas, or even if they have, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people coming back to view this. Secondly, we've got Quartet. Quartet is a wonderful British drama. To call it a drama is not being fair. There is just so many funny moments. The acting is brilliant. The characters are wonderful. You'll notice the stars, and some you won't even recognise. Billy Connolly looks so different as an ageing operatic singer. He's brilliant. Maggie Smith, probably best known for her work in the Harry Potter series, also wonderful. The story is just one of those that just captures your heart, tears at it, and just makes you cheer along. It is a wonderful British story. Loved it to bits. I think it'll appeal to more than just a generation. I think it definitely will be one of those ones that everyone should give a go. Thoroughly enjoyed it, would recommend it wholeheartedly. Thanks for having us once again with Network Video. We offer more than just 2 movies every week. Come and check them out. We'd love to see you. See you then next week.
Welcome back. Mike Higgins found a way to deal with the challenges of treatment for cancer. He turned a difficult time into a time of reflection and creativity.
I finished a novel and then adapted it to a screenplay while I was in that ward. And the novel's set in the 1920s, and it's a dark comedy about an anti-sex sect. And there are dysfunctional fellows who are preaching celibacy and doing the opposite, and a big hot air balloon trip up the Queensland coast. So while my body was in the ward, I was flying around in 1920 in a hot air balloon, which was fantastic. And every day then I'd come boop, 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 back down in my bed. Oh, I'm back. So it was therapeutic in a huge way. It was really very therapeutic.
Well, Mark, the book and then coming through into a screenplay, you've had some amazing accolades around it, and certainly getting from the book for it to be moving from Screen Queensland to be recognised as a piece to be showcased. That must have been very exhilarating for you to see all that hard work, both in recovery and the writing, to come to that point.
Yeah, it was extremely exciting, and in a way that was therapeutic too, to be given that boost to my ego or energy or self-esteem or chi, because they're all sort of combined. So I think the experience in hospital, it made life better in every way. I think in a way the universe knocked me down and then raised me up again, and I'm a happier and a better man for it, there's no doubt. When Professor Richard Walter from UCLA, the professor of screenwriting and television, came out to Australia to do a seminar, I was well enough to get out of hospital and spend a weekend with him and a whole lot of other people, listening to him talking about how to make and how to write a movie. Now there was a contest held, and we had to write a short version of our project, which I did, and he selected my project as the one to pitch to Screen Queensland as a movie. Well, then the bone marrow transplant intervened. The screenplay went onto the shelf. I was in the hospital for a long while. I thought, I'll finish the novel, and then I did another draft of the screenplay. Now at that time the professor from UCLA had only seen a short précis of the whole thing, so I sent him the complete, I think it was the second draft of the screenplay, and he wrote back in glowing terms, and I was shocked. I was astonished because I didn't think it was that good, but he thought it was wonderful. And I thought, oh goodness, gee, it must be all right. Then some months ago I asked him first if I could send him the novel. Well, I sent him the novel, and about 5 days ago I got a letter back from him, written in his almost illegible handwriting, again waxing poetic about my work. And I thought, oh Richard, you are so kind, and he really does like it, and he's signalled that it should be made into a movie, and it'll be a good movie as well. So,
and in terms then of moving to seeing this body of work come to the screen, that must be a very exciting prospect for you, even though it may be a little while off.
It is, but the writing is the joy. Sure, I'm going to work on the screenplay. It may not. It may become a movie. That's not really what I'm fixated on. I love the writing process. I love the imagining and the writing and the finding the right word and the phrase and the rhythm of the written word. That's the real joy for me. Yeah, sure, I'd love people to read the book. The movie, of course, will be changed. That's what happens when you write a book and decide to give it to someone to make a movie out of. It could end up something totally different. Superman, you know, could fly into it. Who knows if Hollywood ever got onto it? And I hope for that reason that an Australian producer picks it up.
So now with the book itself, it's going to be available online, so tell us how people can actually access this.
Well, the novel, I'm swapping commas and full stops at the moment. A couple of weeks' time, it'll be online on www.mikehigginswriter.com. My pride and joy is the book.
Well, he's doing well, taking it day by day, and it was great to chat with one of Brisbane's top news presenters, Mike Higgins. Well, now here in the studio with me is Abraham Tilbury, or perhaps better known as All Things Lost. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
That's good. So where did the name come from?
Look, I just thought of it. I don't know. It's just
like all good bands.
Yeah.
It's one of those great inspirations.
Just popped in the head, yeah.
So as a producer and writer and performer, you've now put out your own EP.
Yep. That's for free, yeah, just on the internet, on Bandcamp.
So that's a way now of being able to get your own music out there and let people see what you're doing?
The main focus is to get my music out there and get known at the moment, so.
So how do you describe your music style?
Well, I used to always produce electronic music and I never really got into lyric writing. So I've always had a huge focus on the actual electronic aspect. So just a variety of sounds tied in by, I don't know, beautiful beats, I guess. But yeah, because I was never good at like writing lyrics. So probably sometime through last year, I just pushed to get the lyrics happening, and then yeah, so it's characterised a lot by my actual voice and by the vocals. So.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to hear more of your voice. We'll let you move across to the performance area, and we'll tell everyone where they can get the information from. Now, All Things Lost, you can get on the website allthingslostmusic.bandcamp.com, and there you'll be able to pick up the EP. There's Closing Doors, the title track. Then there's also Get Free by Major Lazer, and the track that we're going to hear now from All Things Lost, and it's called Nothing.
Smiled in the street, crossed paths on the feet. You kept yourself discreet. You dragged me by my feet. Our ends began to meet. With you I felt complete. But you leave me with nothing. 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 But you leave me with drag me by my feet. Our ends began to meet. With you I feel complete. But you leave me with nothing. 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 But you leave me with nothing.
And that was All Things Lost and Nothing. You can also visit the website at allthingsLostmusic.bandcamp.com. Thanks to Lewis Jones, Brian Egan, Mike Higgins, and also All Things Lost. And thank you for joining us. Please join us again same time next week. Until then, stay connected.